Yeah, welcome back to Starting Up with Virtue Zone. Tomic with, of course, Neil Petch, the chairman of Virtue Zone, alongside us. So great to be back with you, Neil. Busy old week for you and the team?
Busy week. Huge believer in brands, which is a wonderful seg to our first guest, Tom.
Look at that segue, Mr. Petch, eh? Look at that segue. Let's get straight into it, shall we? Because we've got a very special guest live with us here in studio. Today's featured guest for Success Spotlight is the man who made budget-friendly branded items, well, cool. And accessible as well. He started by opening a few brands for less stores, and now he has several retail brands under the BFL group and 80 branches spread far and wide across the region. But like many successful founders and entrepreneurs, he had to start from the very bottom and work his way to the top, but not without a few challenges, a few hurdles along the way. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome into the Dubai Eye studio and live here to Starting Up with Virtue Zone, the executive chairman of the board and group CEO of the BFL group. It is a warm welcome to Toufic Kriedieh, who joins us now live in studio. Toufic, thanks so much indeed for being with us.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
It's a real pleasure to have you with us here because it's one of those organisations, it's one of those brands that absolutely everybody listening at the moment will know. And I suppose that's my first question. How has it become so synonymous with this region so quickly?
To be very frank with you, we're a little bit late, but better late than never. This concept has been extremely popular back in the United States. Mm-hmm. And, it's part of the product cycle to a level whereby it reached a point whereby it's a major channel of distribution. And everyone by nature as humans, we are hunters. And the whole idea is to cater to these hunters by trying to offer them a treasure to hunt. And it's an experience. Every time you visit the store, you're going for a treasure hunt. And that you will be successful when you go to the cash register. It means that you have caught your hunt and you caught your treasure and you got a very good deal in terms of price-quality ratio.
That's absolutely brilliant, Toufic. You know that we're both competitive, and suddenly you've made us feel that we win if we pay money in your store. Brilliant.
Thank you.
We need to get you to do a sales
It's very
training
important.
course.
It's very important when you shop at Branch for Less. Don't think how much you spent. Think how much you saved.
You sound like my wife.
Let's take a step back if we can, because I want to know how we got to this. 80 branches, the flagship store down in Motor City. As we mentioned, you got branches all across the region. How did you come up with the idea? You were working in Saudi Arabia, I understand, but you were working multiple jobs, weren't you?
That's true. We started, I'm Lebanese origin, born and raised during the wartime in Beirut. Due to the war, there was a lot of absence of brands due to the security situation that was there. And from there, we found the gap. Of course, you have to remember we have a lot of Lebanese traveling all around the world and being exposed to latest trends in businesses and in brands across the world. So the idea came, we saw this concept of off-price retail, as it's called, to be very popular in the United States. I said, we really see that there is a gap to fill. This concept would really work. And it started back in Beirut. It was a side business for us. Just to go by history a little bit, I graduated from university and I took the first job out of Beirut and it was Saudi Arabia. And it was a very difficult start at the beginning. We had no capital, nothing. And the company is owned between me and my best friend, we went to school together, went to university together, and we started this business together. I was an employee back in Saudi Arabia, and to a level whereby my first contract was 2,500 dirhams. and I was the only supporter of the family. Used to send the money all to Beirut, and I used to wake up 4 a.m. Down under my accommodation. There was a falafel sandwich place. I used to go roll falafel sandwiches to be sold to the schools. And, you know, it was a very difficult start. I had nothing with me. And, you know, from one job to another, I got promoted because I'm a university graduate at the end of the day. And then back in 1996, while I was between here and Beirut, we started the first shop. It was in a car park, in a garage, underground. And we started with $10,000. That's everything that we had with us. And it was a side business. Until year 2000, I came back here to the UAE, to Dubai. And I was in a management position in one of the oil companies. I went there and I took a personal loan of $40,000. And I started the first store. I put my resignation and I started the first store by myself. There was not even one employee. For 1 year, it took me to hire the first employee.
Wow. That was in 2000.
And today we have more than 3,500 employees.
Extraordinary. And the one thing that underpins that, I'm hearing as well, is hard work. Is that the advice that you give to people?
100%. Yeah. Hard work, perseverance, and always chase your dream.
Toufic, I love the fact that you're just completely genuine about this. So I'm going to ask you a question which a lot of people churn out glib answers. If you had your time again, what mistakes did you make that you would do differently?
The only thing, mistake in terms of business, I don't see, to be very frank with you, even after time, when you learn from the mistake, you enjoy the difficulties at the beginning and they become part of your character and they become part of your experience. So to be very frank with you, I do not regret from a business perspective any step or any even mistake that was realized later to be a mistake, because it got me stronger and it got me wiser. The only thing that I missed at the beginning was really to take care more of my health and sports and etc., which now I'm dedicated much more time towards that.
A lot of people asking about the brands themselves, for Brands for Less. I'm sure, and judging by that story there, a lot of that early days was going to brands and trying to convince them to give you produce to put on your shelves. I'm sure that's now turned around and the brands are coming to you and saying, Toufic, please put your brands on our brands on your shelves. How does that change? Where do you source from?
Okay, I tell you something. Today, like not only sourcing, advertising, all aspects of business have changed with technology, with the ease of doing things, with the connectivity around the world. I remember very well, for me, my first trip going to the States looking for suppliers. There was no Google at that time. I had to literally buy a map, drive the car, go from one state to another and try to find my way. I got lost so many times. Things were so difficult. It took me like at least 4 days to reach my destination. Today, things are more different and much easier. And, you know, my advice to the people who are starting, you have all this treasure in your hand. Just make use of it. You can reach, you can do your procurement, you can do your advertising, you can do everything. At that time, we had nothing. We had flyers and we have newspaper ad. We had nothing, no internet, nothing. And of course, when there's a will, there's a way. You have to always think outside the box. But remember, every time there's a progress in technology, adapt to it. Make use of this technology.
So speaking of that, online sales, how are Brands for Less adapting to that?
You know, online sales, of course, we saw a lot of change in the trend, like all other retailers all around the world. We started early. I will not say very early. I would say like 7 years ago, we started our website. Of course, you know, when you have a catastrophe like the COVID, it's not only for us, it's for everyone. It really pushed us to fast forward our efforts. And today, our online platform constitute 16% of our turnover, and still growing. The trajectory is like very north.
You mentioned there about early adoption and evolving with the business, and the change from the map in the car and trying to drive the car with the map, etc. And now, of course, anyone that is familiar with TikTok will know that you're a big name on TikTok, not just in the retail space. He's a TikTok superstar himself as well.
Thank you.
Now, a lot of people would say, hang on, Toufic, you've got a social media team. Let them do all the social media. But again, is that important for you to be a face for the company and get out there on social media platforms?
To be very frank with you, this was never planned. It was a pure coincidence, and I was pushed because people know. Okay, this is their opinion of me, that I'm a very genuine person. I just speak my mind. I like to laugh. I like fun. I like all of these things. And they said, listen, your character really suits the social media. Why don't you go and just give it a shot? And the first video was so simple. My name is Toufic Kriedieh. I'm the CEO of Brands for Less, okay? And it's my first time on TikTok. And the first video got 1.4 million views. And this was like, I said, okay, listen, this is a tool like there's no tomorrow. We have to make use of this tool to the fullest. And, I gathered my team and said, listen, guys, any message that we want to transmit, we have to transmit to these people, because these are the Gen Zs, these are the young people, these are the second generation that is in Dubai that we have to reach to.
There's hope for us yet, Tom. 1.4 million.
Man, I don't know. One thing that I give attribute always, because we have Mother's Day coming soon, is the prayer of my mom that has accompanied my life since I was a kid. All her prayers, I don't know, they pay. And in everything that I do, I see luck. I see things going in the right direction. And thanks God for that.
Listen, time is against us, unfortunately. We could talk for hours on this, Toufic, because you're such a great character. And I want to find out so much more about Brands for Less. Less has become more at the moment. Sure, it's Brands for More now, isn't it? But what is in the pipeline? What's in the pipeline for 2023?
Now, 2023, we have a large expansion in Saudi Arabia. We're planning for this year 32 new stores in Saudi Arabia. In addition to some expansion in Qatar, in Oman, in Kuwait, and of course in the UAE even. The latest development that we had is the BFL shopping center that we have built in Motor City. Was a really great success. And now today we're going to replicate this concept all around the territory that we have. So cementing, I will say, if I want to put it in one statement, is cementing our presence in the GCC.
And finally, for all those listening in going, wow, what a story. You're a man who gives so much hope to so many out there. For those young, aspiring founders and CEOs, for those thinking about whether they should leave their accountancy job, jump in and see if they can make their dreams come true, what is your advice to young founders these days?
My advice is very simple. Always chase your dream. But just don't go don't overdo it in a way whereby, remember, when you go into day-to-day, not the dream you always chase, but you can go into day-to-day objectives. Never chase a bus, never chase a woman. This is a sure thing. And never chase a business opportunity, because another one will follow. The right one will follow. So this is my advice.
Where better to leave it, I tell you. What an extraordinary story. What an extraordinary man as well. Listen, Toufic, we can't thank you enough. Thank you very much indeed for joining us here this afternoon on Starting Up with VirtuZone. Thanks for everything that you're doing with Brands for Less and the BFL Group. It is a game changer in so many ways.
Thank you.
And thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Big thanks to the Executive Chairman of the Board and Group CEO of the BFL Group, one of the leading off-price retailers here in the Middle East. We will take a short breather, but when we're back with Neil Petch, Chairman of VirtuZone, and more special guests, Starting Up with VirtuZone.
Dubai Eye 103.8.
Join the conversation.